Hello and welcome to the eSports Report. I'm of course Benson and I'm going to be guiding you through today's show. And today is going to be pretty interesting because we have a world exclusive, if you will. We have the first ever person to reach level 30 on Destiny. Yes, level 30. We have N3AC. He's going to be in an interview in a couple of seconds. But as well as that, after the Destiny interview, we're going to be taking a look at Call of Duty from then on and just giving you guys an update as to what's been happening previously in the week. But as I said, we have the first ever level 30. It's Mark Neese, aka N3AC. How are you doing today, N3AC?
I am good, Benson. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, not too bad. I've just been having a look at your character. It makes me somewhat sad, but it's worth mentioning you're a full-time streamer, world's first level 30 in Destiny. First of all, that has to feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, definitely. Got a lot of mentions in publications, IGN, GameSpot, all those big names.
Right.
So it's great. It was great to wake up to.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And you're obviously a very, very talented player when it comes to Destiny. I know you're also pretty talented at other FPSs as well. I know you played a lot with Ninja and Puckett in the beta of Destiny when that came out. But
Yes.
What's kind of your background? What's your history of gaming?
Well, I grew up in Maine, in the middle of nowhere, Maine, in Pittsfield. And I think a lot of the viewers out there can probably relate to this scenario, want to participate in MLG and maybe never have the opportunity.
Right.
I grew up in the middle of nowhere, and I loved competitive gaming. All through high school, I was fascinated by it. Didn't really have an opportunity to really go to any MLG events when I was growing up, just because of finances, and some people know how that is. Right. And then I went to college, got a degree in Full Sail University in Florida. I got a crazy amount of debt, about $100,000. Joined the Army, deployed, and then as soon as I got back, I was plotting to get back into gaming. I've played Halo from the beginning. I've played Counter-Strike, StarCraft, League of Legends. Been pretty decent at all of them. Never was able to compete. And with Destiny dropping around the same time that I was getting out, I was kind of planning ahead to do something like this, whether it was going to be the world's first raid or the world's first 30. I was kind of shooting at all those. So that's kind of my short TLDR history, if you will.
Nice. So obviously, as I said, I figured you'd be experienced gaming, but there you go. You have experience in pretty much every game.
I've been around,
of mankind. Nice. And for a lot of people watching this, they're going to be sat there saying, all right, I've always wanted to take gaming full time. I've always wanted to make it a career. How hard was it for you? Obviously, you said, when you came back from military service, how hard was it for you to really make that decision to basically go all in gaming?
For me, it was more of, well, for example, right, you have like T-Squared, right, who's known for dropping out of high school and just pursuing it on a whim, essentially, right? And thankfully for him, it worked out. My parents would have never allowed that to happen, and unfortunately for me, I did not have the connections to kind of just go for it like that. What I did instead was more of a smart approach. I got my degree in digital arts and design. And when I got back, like I said, I had a ton of debt. And then, obviously there, it's not really a good time to go for it, right? When you have all that debt. It's not like you're just going to go to an event on a whim and place first, beat Ogre 2, It's just not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So I joined the Army because the Army is, and I'm not here to, personally, I'm out. I got out, so I'm not really endorsing it or anything. It's just, it works for me. Right. I joined in, and they pay about a third of your college debt, depending. Okay. For me, it was a little less because it was $100,000, but they paid about 60-something thousand, I think it was. And when I was finally stable financially and had all my ducks in a row, so to speak, it was like, this is the time. If there's any time that I can go into streaming and do it, this will be the window that I'm going to do it. My parents thought I was crazy because I was getting out of the Army. I had a pretty good career path going in the Army. They wanted me to switch over to officer. I was a sergeant. Like in about 2 years, I made it. Like, it wasn't a bad run, but I was just like, I love gaming. I'm jealous of the people that got to do it. I wanted to do it, and here I am. That's absolutely awesome. What a nice little story that is of how you decided to go full-time, because as I said, a lot of people watching this are going to be sat there going, I wish I could do that, I wish I could just go full-time in. And obviously you found a game, as you said, Destiny, which has kind of been your sort of start of a path, which hopefully is very successful for you. But speaking of Destiny, for any of you that don't know, obviously level 30 is the cap right now, but is there also a light cap as well at level 20? So what I really want to know, because I'm actually just a level 21, I think
earlier on got to 22, and that was just by a cheeky little bit of a game in the office, but don't tell Pocket because I'll probably get fired. Anyway, as I was saying, how did you manage to get from 20 to 30 so quickly? What was it you were doing? How would I sort of try and increase my level as quick as possible?
Oh, well, the big thing is you hit the soft cap pretty quickly in the game just by going through the campaign missions, playing a little PvP, doing some bounties. The bounties is the fastest way to level to the soft cap, really. Playing, and some people like to say, well, I play primarily PvP or PvE, and they have like their little farming tricks that they want to basically just run into the ground. That's not really how I climbed up so fast. I played just about everything. And that was something I wanted to advocate for in the interview going into this, was that, they have done a good job. Bungie's done a good job of making you have to play out each avenue. So, for example, you'll play some PvP, you'll get some bounties for that, you'll knock that out. Then you'll take the PvE bounties, you'll knock that out. And then you'll go into the campaign missions, and you'll play them on the hardest difficulty. That'll get you some XP. So there's all sorts of things you have to keep track of in order to level the fastest, if that makes sense.
So you were literally doing everything then?
Oh, yeah. And then beyond that, getting to 30, it becomes legendary drops, which is basically you have to get pretty rare gear. The drop's pretty small. I don't know the exact math on it, but you have to farm some of the harder stuff with your groups, or if solo. There's some people that were doing it solo. You complete those hard strikes rather, and hard missions, hope that the drops hit for you, and then you do it again. I think that's the fastest way. I mean, you're hoping to get that armor, and then if you already have armor of that kind, you need to collect shards to go to the next highest level because you got to upgrade the armor. So it's a very grindy.
That sounds like it is pretty grind intensive. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you got to put in the time, definitely.
Because I see a lot of players now when I'm playing, PvP, because that's what I personally like to do on Destiny. I know I haven't really fully divulged as much as I possibly should have done, but I see a lot of players that are, at level 27, 28. I've seen a couple of 29s, but it's very rare. I think I've only ever seen 113, and that was yesterday, actually playing with Puckett. So, I mean, the big question for me is, first of all, how many attempts did it take you to get that last sort of gear that you needed to really push you to level 30? Because I can imagine if it was my luck, I'd be doing the same raid over and over again and just not getting any luck with it.
I think I did like 6 raids. I read the script too going into this for this discussion, and I wanted to talk about the technique that we used as a group, because people think that, well, it is true that the raid was capped. You could only do the raid once a week, right? So your Cursed Benson account, you can have 3 different characters on your account, right? Okay. So you have a 22. It started, the group that I was running with, Tier 1, it started with, we were just going to run 3 characters. And then we were going to keep the characters exactly the same. So you see on my list here, I have 3 hunters, and this is what you were going to go into on the interview, is that I have 3 hunters. And people are like, why do you have 3 hunters? That's boring. And I agree, right? I agree it might be a little boring. But you make the new accounts, you level them to 30, and then you ship your armor and your gear through the vault that they have in the game.
So you're basically transferring your equipment to yourself to a different character.
Yes, which is the same class. The goal is, of course, once you transfer that gear over, your 20 is now, a 28 right away.
Right. Yeah, you have all your light.
And it's funny because a lot of people were doing that. As soon as they found out that was a thing, we weren't the only people doing that. So to be the first 30, what we wound up doing, and this is going to just put into perspective the amount of pimple farming that was going on in this game with the race to 30 was... we realized that the fastest way to do this was to keep 2 characters, do the 3 raids weekly as fast as possible, and then literally delete the 3rd character, farm him up as soon as possible to 20 every day.
Every day?
So every day I had a character go from 0 to 20, then switched the gear over, did the dailies, did the weeklies, and did a raid.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was what would allow me to get more drops than everybody else, and even guys that were, and I'm not gonna say no names, but there were some guys that were streaming a lot, all right, on Twitch, and that were literally not putting their character down. That's kind of how I beat out those people. was by using that strategy.
That's fascinating. So you had 2 full level characters, and every day you deleted the third, grinded them up, and did everything you could on that level.
Yeah, and then we raided, and then the night that it was so funny because I think it was like 2 nights ago now. I was on the 3rd character. I did the raid. I literally needed, because for those who don't know in the viewers, you get to level like 28, 29. In order to get to 30, and this is for the people that are curious, like how do I get to that next tier? You need to get all raid gear. That is RNG. So the random number generator, that is that. You have to essentially get the raid gear to drop on a raid. So about the 5th or 6th raid that I did, I needed a chest piece and some, I think it was boots or whatever, and it's in my inventory. You can look and see. But I literally got those back to back, like in one section of the raid, and then later in the other section of the raid, I got both pieces, and then I literally just stayed up until I finished 30 because I just had materials to grind and things to upgrade. And yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I have your character on my screen right now. Light level 30. How jealous I actually am right now. And just looking at some of the stuff, like a 402 defense helmet. I'm rocking like a 202, so that kind of emasculates me somewhat. And then your gauntlets. Yeah. Plus, first of all, I have to say your character just looks badass. That's the first thing, which I have to say. Mine, not so cool. Mr. X yesterday said I had effectively made the ugliest looking character on Destiny, so yeah, that wasn't very nice of him. But in terms of the weapons, you haven't actually fully upgraded the auto rifle yet, I see.
That is actually my PvP. The one, I'll equip it right now. Maybe you can see.
Yep, just updated.
That weapon, the 2 weapons here, the Atheon's Epilogue is the primary. You will get this from the drop, the final boss drop of the raid. That can drop for you. This is probably the best PvP auto rifle in the game right now, is this Atheon's Epilogue. It just does retarded damage for
maximum levels of damage.
Yeah, it's crazy damage. And then the sniper rifle, same thing. You also get this in the raid. The sniper rifle, it drops in the first boss that you face. And this is a PvP. I actually use this rifle for PvP. It's one of the only PvP rifles or sniper rifles that I can use and win. In my opinion, sniping isn't that good in PvP unless you have like a good one, and this is one of the good ones. Then the legendary, or the exotic machine gun Thunderlord. That is just something I picked up recently, and my friends are just, at that point, they're just mad because I'm just getting too lucky. And then we go to the helmet. The helmet, you get this from the guy that shows, I think you know what I'm talking about, right? That's in the dude that shows up weekly.
Yeah.
The creepy store owner, tentacle face, as I call him.
Strange dude.
Yeah, he's creeping, and he shows up different parts of the tower, and I got this from him. And then you go down the line, and this is all the raid gear that you will get as you do the raid more and more with your group.
Wow, you fully kitted out. But you know, touching back when you were saying how you have 3 hunters, the big question I have to ask you is there any sort of, not regret, but are you planning to maybe try and use a different class, maybe delete the 3rd? Now you're level 30. I guess you could say you've kind of done it on 1. That's kind of like a big tick on what you want to try and achieve on this. Are you going to try and maybe do that with every character on the game? Or every class?
Oh, that is a daunting task, young Benson. I don't know, man. This, honestly, as soon as I hit 30, like, I just felt so relieved from the grind. To be honest with everyone, I'm exhausted.
Really?
This was, I mean, like I was saying, the character every day. I've seen every bit of content probably on repeat. I don't even know how many times. It's disgusting. I mean, I've sat outside, you know, the treasure cave.
Yes.
I've been in it, dude. I've been in the treasure cave. I've been in front of that hive base where all the guys spawn out, and Peter Dinklage is like, we've awoken the hive. I've heard him say that at least 80 times. Like,
having nightmares.
all these things. Like, I don't know if I could do it again. So, if I had to make a recommendation, is this where you're going with this? I think
I'll let you finish up.
Yeah, if I had to make a recommendation for the people that maybe just are trying to get into the game, yeah, I would say the Titan is probably the one that I would have done.
Really?
Yes. Even though the Hunter did get 31st, that's cool. I would have to say that based off my experience in PvP and PvE, I feel like you can't beat the Titan's utility, honestly. There's just too much that he can do.
I'm immediately
but that's just my opinion.
Class. I'm going to make a new class off that recommendation. But if that isn't going to be what you can do, I have to ask, what is your plan now? you have the most impressive accolade. You know, you got to level 30 first out of anyone in the world. But what is your game plan now? Because obviously, as I said, you're a full-time streamer. So what's your game plan?
Well, originally I come from League of Legends. I was a high diamond player in League of Legends when I started getting more popular at streaming. I took a break from that and I went over to Destiny. Now that I hit the first 30, I think I don't want to just, throw all this work away. I definitely, you know what I mean? I definitely want to see what Bungie does. I want to see the expansion stuff. I want to see more raids. I think everybody in my group, and I was talking to you before we went on, like the raids are the deal. Like this has to happen. Before you leave Destiny, and I understand it's a grind, the raids must happen. But the big thing for me is I want to see more of that. I'd love to see if Bungie does some sort of custom game PvP type of stuff to allow more versatility in that, because right now you just kind of get thrown into playlists and that's it. But for me personally, I'm going to stay on Destiny, look at Halo 2 Anniversary, which I know you love.
Yep.
I am going to be playing that, and I've got a little bit more connects now that I can get some good practice partners and play catch up to some of the greats. And then if I can't seem to get anything rolling, I might go back to League and play it a bit more. I'm not really interested in the game right now because I've kind of burned out on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's something that it's a good fallback, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
It's a solid game.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Just out of curiosity, what rank are you on League?
I was Diamond 1 when I stopped. I probably decayed. Yeah, I was playing with the pros. I was playing with I ran into some of the guys you saw at Worlds recently. Yeah, I've been grinding, man. I wanted to do this.
Respect the grind.
When I got out of the army,
Definitely. I as I said, completely respect what you've managed to do across so many different titles. Very, very impressive. But thank you very much, N3AC, for coming on eSports Report and giving us some tips and tricks for some of the Destiny noobs out there, like myself. And guys, make sure you follow N3AC on Twitter. His Twitter tag is somewhere down there. Make sure you give him a follow, and you can get alerts every time he goes live streaming, because he's just going to give you so many tips and tricks, I imagine, every time you watch him. I'm definitely going to be in your stream next time you go live. But as I said, thank you very much for coming on the show today, N3AC.
Thank you, Benson, for having me. Shouts out to all the MLG people.
Thanks very much, N3AC. Enjoy the rest of your day. As for the rest of eSports Report, we have so much Call of Duty action to catch up on what's been going on in the last couple of days in the Call of Duty Pro League. I myself, when I got into the office today, sat down and did a little bit of estimating of where I think people could potentially finish. So all that coming up next after this quick commercial break.